Overlord Unicorn. So what can I say about this game? Go play the demo. It's fantastic. You can play up to 7 freaking hours of this game, and the progress carries over into the actual purchase game. So however far you get in 7 hours, that's the progress you get to have. And if you don't like how you played that 7 hours, you can actually go back and restart the demo or go back to a previous save point and you'll get all the time that you spent back. This is single-handedly one of the most generous demos that I played in recent history. So enough gushing over what Vanillaware has been doing here and their generosity. Let's go ahead and talk about the actual game. I'm going to give you an overview about the story, the world, the gameplay, and my overall impressions at the end. There's not really much that I can spoil here inside the game. The overall main story is listed to be around 50 hours, and then if you want to be a completionist doing side stories and everything else, it's about 100 hours.
I've much room to improve.
Okay, so a bit of a basic overview about this game. Unicorn Overlord is a tactical RPG made by Vanillaware and produced by Atlas Games. It's slated to come out on Nintendo, PS, and Xbox consoles on March 8th. You play on this overworld by essentially knocking out main quests, knocking out side quests, collecting new teammates, helping out NPCs, and battling any of those who decide to oppose you. You'll level up your squad through battling and increasing the size of your army as time goes along. Now, this demo does run for about 7 hours, but if you decide to go back for previous loads, the game time is going to run a little bit longer. Me, myself, I end up playing it for about 12 hours through all my reloads. All right, jumping into the most important part, which is the gameplay loop, right? So let's go and talk about it. The main thing is the battles. The game gives you 3 different difficulties: easy, medium, and hard. I played the game on hard mode, and it seemed challenging, but not overwhelming. I'm not the greatest TRPG player out there, but at no point did I really feel like I needed to change the difficulty to any other level except for hard. There was one fight that I did have to restart a little over 5 times, but honestly, it's because I really had my own head up my own ass and I wasn't tackling the situation correctly. So honestly, I really felt like anytime I did take an L, it was because of my own mistakes, not because the game was screwing me over. Also too, the battles so far were pretty short. Every battle maybe went for about 5 to 10 minutes. So if I ever did feel like I had to restart, I really didn't feel like I lost much time. So let me go ahead and break down how the battles go. Usually you start each battle back at your home base and you're allowed to summon 3 units right off rip. You're able to summon more by collecting this thing called Valor Points, which you earn through winning fights throughout the battle. Once you pick up enough Valor Points, you can summon a whole another unit to come and assist you. Now, each unit in the demo, you're only able to have about 3 soldiers in each. You can get that increase up to 6, but for the limitations of the demo, you will never be able to collect enough points to actually be able to unlock more than 3 characters to a unit. But for the full game, you're going to be able to have up to 6. Now, honestly though, for the demo purposes, this was never an issue. Having 3 units was perfect. Having 3 characters within those units was perfectly fine. And by the end, I had up to around 7 total units that I can summon during a battle. Once you have all your units on the field, you essentially direct them to where you want to go and have them tackle different situations or band together and move as a unit. And whenever you get into a fight, you can swap out who decides to get put into that fight. Now, during the match, in order to maximize your chance of winning, you're going to have to pin your strengths up against an enemy's weaknesses. For example, if you're coming against a flying unit, make sure to use archers. They have the advantage. If you're fighting shielded units, make sure to use mages because mages have the advantage. The list goes on. Now, there are about 20 different classes inside the demo itself. But once the actual game comes out, there's listed to be around 40. Mind you though, this might just be speculation, that's just what I read online, but I can at least say not all the classes that are available are in the demo. Side note, use the assassin at all times. That motherfucker cannot be touched. Look at this.
Nope. Nice try. Saw that. Nope. Yep. Nice. Nope. Saw that. Nope. Thanks. A fine job.
Now, side note, try your best not to use Joseph as much as you possibly can. I understand when you get him, he is max level, so he's already level 20 when you get him off rip. The issue is, if you have him out there ripping and destroying everything, your other units won't get any XP because they're not getting into fights. So use Joseph as a, oh my god, like my back is up against the wall type of thing, but try to use your other units first so that way they can catch up and get some XP going. Back to the battling, you'll also have to manage things like your stamina, valor points, tactical lists, formations, assist, and terrain effects. Quick little breakdown of those. Your stamina is what allows you to actually get into fights or do things like assist other characters. An assist would be something like if Joseph and some other character got into a fight, if I have a mage nearby, I can actually have the mage spend a stamina point in order to attack that unit first, so that way they weaken them for Joseph to be able to attack after that. And the mage will never have to be at risk of actually being inside the fight. Downside is the mage won't get any XP, but depending on the fight, that's kind of the situation that you have to put yourself in. Valor points, you just earn those from getting into battles, and as those rack up, you're able to use them to either summon more units or do special, essentially special effects such as heal your team, increase XP, create barricades. There's a plethora of different things that you can do with those valor points as you start to rack them up. Make sure to spend them. Once the fight's over, all the valor points go away. Then there's formations. So formations matter because certain units get an advantage on how they attack a certain formation. A spear unit, for example. If there are two characters that are one in front and one directly right behind them, a spear unit will attack through the front one and hit the back one as well. There's also terrain effects, which, let's say that you're a horse unit. If you go to ride through the trees, it'll slow you down. If you have a flying character, they can fly over mountains and over different terrain. So that also matters whenever you're playing the game inside those battles. So combining all that together, your overall objective is don't let your base get taken, push forward, and at the end, you need to beat the boss and take their base. And then that's how you win the game. The other important system to this game is character leveling. All right, so there's a few ways to actually get stronger inside this game. One is by leveling up your character by engaging in fights. Win or lose, you get XP. Now, you do have to participate though. Like I said before, if your units don't get into fights, they won't get XP. Being on the battlefield is not enough. You can buy equipment and buy items, which will just boost your stats or give you resistances and other little special effects. The third way is by building up rapport. The first two are pretty self-explanatory. If you play most RPGs, that just makes sense. The third one is rapport, which is essentially the familiarity that that your characters within a unit get with each other. The more battles that they experience together, the more rapport that they actually build up. The other way is you can go over and go kick it at the tavern and share a meal together, and that will also build rapport between characters. Also, by the way, I gotta say, the tavern food actually looks kind of delicious. I mean, they did a really good job with the art style of this whole food setup here.
Hey, try some of this. That was wonderful.
And the last way is you can give gifts, which will also boost the character's rapport as well. So why does rapport matter? It actually boosts your stats whenever those people are on the field together. Now, there are a few extra other things that they added to the gameplay as well, such as mining and treasure hunts. There might be more inside the game as well, but those are the only two that I came across inside the demo. Mining is essentially like a little mini game where you run around with this guy for maybe 10 seconds or so and try to essentially mine an area that you're in. Once you do strike a certain area, another little bar will pop up, and then you have to fill that up as many times as you can in order to actually collect all your items. This is kind of a must because in order to get treasure maps, you have to mine first, at least so far. Through doing so, you get treasure maps, which essentially put like a little circle marker on your map, and you essentially search that area for treasure. I don't know if this is going to be the only mini game within this game, but hopefully there's a little bit more, just so that way it can kind of keep everything spiced up a bit. But we'll see. So let's jump into the story so far. The overall plot of the game is about pretty straightforward as it can be as far as RPGs go. For those trying to avoid spoilers, I'll keep it super short and sweet. You play as a hero named Elaine, who was on a mission to defeat this guy named General Valmore. Why? General Valmore snuck your kingdom when you was asleep, and now you're out to seek for revenge. In order to do so, you're gonna have to build up your own crew of loyal members and try to roll on his ass. Along the way, you'll get into different adventures, save towns, and meet new allies, and that's basically the gist of the game. Until the game officially drops though, we won't really know what the full story is, but that's pretty much everything I gathered so far. Like most games, even though the story might be simple, it's really more so about the journey. And the journey in this game is damn good. A cool feature is after you're done defeating some of the enemies, you kind of have a choice on how you want to deal with them. Do you want them to join your crew? Do you want to kill them? Do you want to imprison them? And more options other than that. Now, it's too soon to say how these are going to affect the game overall. However, I did have at least one enemy say, I am going to come back for your ass by not killing me. So I'm not sure how that's going to play out, but I am excited to see what's going to happen once the full game releases. Now, every single conflict that you get into generally opens up with a cutscene at the beginning, a mini dialogue once you actually get to the boss, and then a dialogue scene after you're done defeating the boss. This is kind of cool because it kind of helps you get to know the world and get to know the characters and even your enemies a little bit. So these sections of the game you kind of don't want to skip, and you want to make sure that you actually watch these if you want to know what's going on. To learn a little bit more about the characters of the game, they have a rapport system to where essentially as you get more closer with your teammates, it'll open up different dialogues that can happen throughout the map. And this will give you a chance for them to bond and for them to actually do a little bit of dialoguing with each other. Now, a good amount of the story is done through voice acted cutscenes, which are really nice. To me, the voice actors did a really good job. It didn't seem like anybody was phoning it in. I actually felt pretty immersed as they were talking. And also too, the cutscenes themselves seem to be done inside the in-game engine, so there's really no transition between the gameplay and the cutscenes that you're watching.
But hey, that's just part of the job. You're gambling with your life the second you take that coin.
Then you know how this ends. Stay your blade, Lex. There's something I need to ask him.
For all the moments that aren't voice acted, the rest is done through having to read text. Now, normally I'd be like, but honestly, the text flies by pretty quick. They really don't drag any of the conversations on too long. So I have no complaints as far as it goes of having to read through different dialogues so far. And also, I did lie just a little bit. Yes, you can play for 7 hours of the demo or more if you decide to, hit reloads and whatnot. But the game actually does have a cutoff point if you do a certain mission. So once you complete this mission, you'll have a choice. Do you want to push forward to go do a certain thing that I don't want to spoil it for you, or you can continue to explore the open world. If you decide to go do that certain thing, then the demo will cut there, and then you'll have to wait until the game comes out to explore further. So it does have a hard stop outside of the 7-hour time limit as well. The characters were cool. No one really seemed annoying, except for maybe this guy, but that's only because so far he seemed kind of weak, but I might try to pump him up to make him a G once the game actually comes out. Overall though, the story was pretty engaging from what I played. It wanted me wanting to come back and play more, and I really can't wait to see what happens once the game actually comes out. Side note, side note. This is pure speculation on me, but my RPG/paranoid brain is going off, and I'm thinking to myself, Joseph is probably gonna die. And the reason why I say that is because the RPGs don't tend to give you OP characters off rip unless they plan on having them die or disappear for an extremely long time. Neither of which happens in the demo, but that's just me speculating for the future. So just keep that out there. If it happens, I can claim here to be right. So go ahead and wrap this up. Everything about this game has a lot of the standard TRPG stuff that you played before. You'll unlock more units as you go. You'll get into skirmishes and battles and try to level up your characters. And in between, you'll tackle the story. But as I said before, it's more about the journey and not about the destination. And this journey is pretty damn fun. I've enjoyed the loop so far, and like I said, I played for about 12 hours. I can see myself playing through the whole entire main quest line. I'm not sure if I'll put in 100 hours for everything, but we'll see as it unlocks more characters and more situations and, some more of these mini games. Maybe I'll change my mind. Exploring the open world is pretty simple enough. They have fast travel in here, so that way you don't have to keep running all the way around. Whenever you're searching for particular units to add to your team, they have a details button here, so that way it actually shows you what units are at what location, so you're not just wasting your time running around lost. The quest markers were very, very straightforward, and rebuilding towns was really, really simple. All you got to do is go collect materials, bring them back, boom, the town has now been upgraded, and now you'll get things like ships, and you have the power to actually assign to them different bodyguards. Which the bodyguard system, I hope that they do more with it. Essentially all it does is allow you to give that bodyguard gifts, but hopefully they'll do a few more things with that to kind of jazz it up a little bit. Only downsides that I could really find was that essentially they add like a fast forward button essentially to the game, which is a positive. What essentially means that whenever you get into a fight, you don't have to sit through and watch them go through all their animations every single fight. You can just hit start and it'll fast forward through that fight immediately for you. Problem is, if there is a dialogue scene within that fight, you're going to miss it. But from what I recognize, you essentially only have dialogue scenes whenever you actually go to fight the boss. So that's really the only time that you actually need to jump into the fight to see what it is that they're saying. 2, whenever you level up, you don't get to pick what stats actually get leveled up. It's randomized. So if you were hoping to make your character more attack focused, physical attack focused, rather than magical attack focused, that's not your choice. You don't get to pick that. And 3, the game doesn't actually scale with you. So if you end up leveling up and getting really OP and then go back for an old mission, you are going to wipe the floor with them because they don't scale to your level. Other than that, I can't really find anything else to complain about. This seems like one of those that's going to be a really, really solid TRPG for 2024. So for all those out there, go ahead and pick it up on March 8th. Other than that, I got nothing else for you, man. Like, subscribe if you want to. Tell me how I did. Conversate in the comments, and I'll catch y'all later.